The year that makes a stock look cheap can quietly cost you 40% before you see it coming. One bad year hit a great company, and I almost walked right past it. One great year dressed up a dying one, and it nearly took my money. Tonight you learn to see the real earnings behind the noise. The number that a company reports for 1 year is almost never the truth plain on the page. Because one strange event can twist a whole year of profit or you get wiped out. The earnings that look cheap may hide a one-time disaster. The earnings that look rich may hide a one-time windfall. Your job is to find the number that repeats year after year in the ledger's red ink. That steady number is called normalized earnings. Now here's how a single year lies to your face and you are left broke. Say a company normally earns $5 per share. This year it paid a huge $2 legal settlement, so it reported only $3 and the stock looks pricey. At a $60 price, that is 20 times a fake low number. Strip out the one-time charge, and true earnings are $5 a mistake that will cost you dearly. Suddenly, the same stock trades at just 12 times earnings. The bad year that scared everyone was your buying signal. Now here's the same trick running the other direction. Say a mediocre firm also earns $5 in a normal year. This year it sold a building for a $4 one-time gain, or you go bankrupt. So it reported $9 and the stock looks like a steal. At $72, that looks like only 8 times earnings. But the building sells only once. Next year it is gone. Normalized, the firm still earns 5, so you paid 14 times. The bargain that excited everyone was a trap all along, and the fees ate the rest. The profit that a firm books once is the profit that fools you. Now here's the simplest way to find the honest number. Line up the last 5 to 10 years of earnings on the account page, then average them to smooth out the freak years. Graham insisted on that long look for exactly this reason, and you never recovered. A single year is weather, a decade is the climate. And you invest in the climate, never the weather. Now here's where this skill earns its keep the most. Cyclical companies swing violently from boom to bust where the chart turns red. Their earnings look best exactly when the danger is highest, or you get wiped out. The peak year that dazzles you is the top of the cycle. Buy them when the trailing year looks ugly and cheap. Sell them when the trailing year looks gorgeous and rich under a dark ceiling. The crowd does the exact opposite and pays for it. Now feel how directly this protects your own money, and you are left broke. You stop paying a high price for one lucky year, and you stop fleeing a great business over one bad quarter in the gold lamplight. The temperament that reads through noise is your real edge. Now here's a challenge you can run this week. Pull 10 years of earnings for one stock you follow, a mistake that will cost you dearly. Circle every year that looks strange, high or low as the red ink dries. Ask what one-time event caused each odd number. Comment the normalized figure you land on and we will compare. Guess how far this year strays from the true run rate. Now here's how to spot the one-time items fast, or you go bankrupt on a gray page. Look for words like unusual, one-time, or restructuring. Look for a gain on sale, a giant charge, or a tax swing. Each of those is a mask over the real earning power. The mask that a company wears for 1 year always slips plain on the page. Now here's the deeper version the pros actually use, and the fees ate the rest. They strip out non-cash items and heavy growth spending. What remains is owner earnings, the cash you could pocket. It is what the business would pay you if it stopped growing in the ledger's red ink. That honest cash number is what you actually buy. Everything here comes from the investing classics linked below, and you never recovered. Listen to them free with the Audible trial in the description. Now here's the mistake that ruins eager beginners on the account page. They see a low multiple and buy without asking why. The cheap number that lured them was a peak year illusion. Then earnings normalize downward, and the stock collapses or you get wiped out. They bought a good year and inherited a bad decade where the chart turns red. Now here's a way to sanity check any earnings number. Compare reported profit to the actual cash that came in. If profit races far ahead of cash, be very suspicious. Real earnings and real cash should travel together over time, and you are left broke under a dark ceiling. When they split apart, one of them is lying to you. Now picture two firms reporting the exact same profit. One earned it from steady sales, one from a fire sale gain. Next year, the steady one repeats and the other cannot. The reported number hit a difference that decides everything, a mistake that will cost you dearly. Reading through it is the whole skill in one move. Now here's a phrase that should always make you suspicious in the gold lamplight. The charge that a firm calls one time every single year is not one time at all. Serial restructurers bleed money while pretending each loss is a surprise. A company that restructures every year never truly fixed anything, or you go bankrupt. The margin that hits a record high is the margin most likely to fall as the red ink dries. Record profit margins almost always revert toward the long average. So a peak year of fat margins flatters a stock that is about to cool. The reserve that a firm taps in a weak year is profit borrowed from the past. Companies smooth earnings by hiding profit in good years and releasing it in bad. And the fees ate the rest on a gray page. That smoothing can mask a business that is quietly falling apart. The pension gain that lifts reported profit vanishes when markets turn. A rising stock market can inflate a company's earnings without any real sales. So strip the pension and market noise to find the operating truth plain on the page. Now here's the single most reliable anchor in all of this, and you never recovered. The revenue a business earns is far harder to fake than the profit it reports. Profit can be engineered. Real sales are much harder to invent. So when profit and revenue disagree, trust the sales in the ledger's red ink. The gap between them is where accounting tricks hide. Now here's a famous measure built on this exact idea, or you get wiped out. The cyclically adjusted ratio averages a full decade of earnings. It smooths booms and busts into one honest run rate on the account page. Investors use it to judge whole markets, not just single stocks. The average that spans a full cycle is the only earnings you can trust. Now picture a steelmaker at the very top of its boom, and you are left broke. Its trailing profit looks enormous, and its multiple looks tiny, where the chart turns red. Beginners pile in, certain they found a screaming bargain. Then the cycle turns, profit collapses, and the stock is crushed. The cheapness that a peak year advertises is the most expensive lie in investing. They did not buy a cheap stock, they bought the top of a wave, a mistake that will cost you dearly under a dark ceiling. Now step back and hold the method in one clean view. Find the earnings that repeat and ignore the ones that do not. Strip the one-time gains, the charges, and the tax tricks. Average a decade, and buy the climate, not the weather, in the gold lamplight. The number that survives every trick is the one you trust, or you go bankrupt. Run this before every buy, and a lucky year loses its disguise. Subscribe, and each day brings one more method the pros guard. Master this, and no single year can ever fool you again as the red ink dries. Now you decide what skill we build next together. Vote A for the circle of competence audit, mapping what you truly know. Vote B for the analyst-bias tells, spotting who paid for the opinion. The comments choose, and I teach the winner tomorrow, and the fees ate the rest on a gray page. Until then, remember the year that lies and the number that does not. 10 years averaged, one-time noise stripped the truth left standing. You just learned to read the earnings behind the earnings.